Members of the court, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Your Honour, what is hypocrisy? According to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, it is this: a feigning to be what one is not, or to believe what one does not. It is behaviour that contradicts what one claims to believe or feel. So how is it that these 12 defendants have found themselves in this courtroom today charged with this crime of hypocrisy? Some of these individuals, whilst claiming to be faithful Muslims, have conducted themselves in ways that directly contradict their Islamic beliefs. Conversely, whilst giving the impression that they hold to Australian values, they are first and foremost Mohammedans who belong to the global Muslim community, the Ummah, and are required to follow the example of the founder of their religion, Muhammad. While the others, who claim to have Australia's best interests at heart, have defended, protected, or supported Islam in one way or another. Despite the fact that Islam directly contravenes Australian values and laws. And to our shame, my dear non-Muslim members of the court, because of our own ignorance of Islam, our lack of courage, or just plain apathy on our part, these defendants have been able to go about practicing their hypocrisy in public for years, too many years in fact, without anyone or barely anyone even noticing it, let alone challenging them on it until now. Throughout this trial, I, on behalf of the Crown, will bring to light their hypocrisy through the use of Islamic texts, such as the Quran, the Sirah, the biography of Muhammad, the Hadiths, and the Islamic Manual of Sharia Law, the Reliance of the Traveller. We will examine the exegesis of revered Islamic scholars. We will view counter-terrorism material, documents, books, news articles and interviews, crime statistics, maps, and court testimony and transcripts from previous trials. You will see videos, brochures, legislation. You will read everything from papal bulls to the writings of bin Laden to Islamic school textbooks. You will come to understand the workings of the Muslim Brotherhood, the halal industry, and Islamic charities. You will become familiar with Islamic proselytizing or dawah. You will understand its purpose and be shocked by the tactics used and how dangerous and effective they are. You will discover that the golden age of Spain was not so golden, that it was actually a time when generations of Muslims deceived the Spaniards into thinking they had assimilated into the Spanish Catholic culture when they were actively working towards subjugation and conquest. You will hear the testimony of expert witnesses, people who are experts in political Islam, Islamic history, Islamic law, people who are experts in jihad, FGM, the Islamic way of life or the Deen, and Christian apologetics. I will make reference to historical battles between Muslims and Christians, You will see paintings depicting these battles. And a heads up to any Mohammedans who happen to be in the courtroom, you will be exposed to Islamic art containing depictions of Muhammad. You will hear about the tortures inflicted on our Christian martyrs by Muslims, the conversion of churches into mosques, and the burning and desecration of our cathedrals by Muslims. You will hear the experiences of Muslim apostates, child brides, rape victims, and abused Muslim wives. We will examine the genocide of the Christians in Nigeria at the hands of, yes, Muslims. You will see clear as day Islamic morality and ethics in action. Dear members of the jury, when all the evidence has been presented and the prosecution rests its case, the question that will be on your mind will not be whether or not these defendants are guilty. The question that will be on your minds, ladies and gentlemen, will be how you ever could have thought them innocent. And a word of warning, this trial will not be for the faint-hearted. It will not be for those who wish to prioritise the sensitivities of perpetually offended Muslims at the expense of reality and fact. What you will hear in this trial, from the prosecution that is truth. Aletheia. Truth. The whole truth and nothing but the truth. And if you can't handle the truth, ladies and gentlemen, that's just too bad. You are going to hear it anyway. Now, the job of the Crown is to prove that the accused are guilty of the crimes of which they are charged, and that they are guilty beyond any reasonable doubt. And that I will do well and truly. But that is simply just too easy to do. So easy, in fact, that I have decided to go a little beyond that. Through my cross-examination of the defendants, you will obtain an insight into the religion of Islam, or rather, its deen, its way of life, as created by its founder, Muhammad. And you will also obtain an insight into him, the man that all Muslims are required to imitate, including those who stand before you on trial today. What Muhammad brought to this world, ladies and gentlemen, was darkness, utter darkness, a darkness that has only ever brought destruction, death, and depravity, a darkness so powerful that it has resulted in the deaths of hundreds of millions of people since its inception. You will become acquainted with all the gory details of the death and destruction it has left in its wake since the 7th century. But suffice to say, Muhammad brought a darkness that is grounded in hatred, division, supremacy, and violence. And he brought this darkness from a place that is itself a place of darkness. Darkness from darkness. A place that is dark and empty. So dark, it is devoid of any light whatsoever. A place so dark, in fact, that it is pitch black. A place that is none other than a cave. And this darkness that he created, where was he to bring it? Well, where else but the places where there is light? The places that are prosperous and advanced. the places where people value human dignity, places where people live by a moral code based on biblical teachings. And for those of you who have been paying attention, there is a darkness that has aggressively pervaded the West more than ever over the last 6 or 7 decades. We have been encouraged by the powers that be, our leaders, to tolerate this darkness, embrace this darkness, participate in it, even celebrate it. And why? Because those lovers of darkness want nothing more than to crush the light, everything it stands for, and all the fruit it bears. And once they crush it, they will stand atop its ruins and create their new world, destroy and rebuild, erase and replace. And whilst many have happily gone along with this darkness, there are those, although few and far between, who have refused to embrace it, preferring instead to cling to the light with its morality, humility, truth, and discipline, much to the disdain of those who would like to see this darkness win out, those whose enemy is not just light, it is truth. In some countries, they will have police turn up at your front door, even arrest you for speaking the truth. They will create laws around made-up words like Islamophobia to stop you from spreading the truth. They will call you names, alienate you, ban you, cancel you, sue you, even imprison you. They will punish you any way they can. As far as they are concerned, those who cling to the light, to the truth, must be brought to heel. And it is not enough that they win. We Christians, the bearers of light, we must lose. And what better way, ladies and gentlemen, for our leaders to bring all this about than to coordinate their efforts with a people who they know belong to the darkness and who will sacrifice their own lives and the lives of their children in order to see the darkness prevail. The people who are theologically and legally bound to submit to this darkness and must do so wholeheartedly without question. Our leaders realise that if they are to crush the light of Christianity and the Christian world, they need to do it hard and they need to do it soon. They know that it only takes a speck of light to eliminate darkness. So they import into the lands of light, that is to say, the lands of Christendom, the followers of darkness, and they will bring them in droves. They will bring them in by boat, by plane, every means necessary. They will bring in men, young, healthy, strong, fit, military-age men. They will bombard the lands of Christendom with these barbarians until we all submit to the supremacy of the darkness or die. Now I know what you're thinking, members of the court. You're thinking, well, some of these leaders, they're not even Muslim. Well, that may be, but their hearts are dark and their souls are empty. Just as dark and empty as that cave in Arabia. And you see, darkness aligns with darkness. And our leaders know full well that you cannot get anything darker than Islam with its brutal, bloody legacy of conquest and subjugation spanning 1400 years. It has everything that we in the West have been encouraged to embrace for decades. Pride, lust, greed, gluttony, wrath, envy, sloth. The 7 deadly sins. Islam has them all, ladies and gentlemen, and it has them in abundance. Pride. Quran 3:110. Muslims are the best of people. Lust. Sahih al-Bukhari 268. The Prophet used to visit all his 9 wives in a round during the day and night. It was said that the Prophet was given the strength of 30 men. Envy. Sunan Abi Dawud 3409. The Prophet handed over the Jews of Khaybar the palm trees and the land of Khaybar on condition that he should have half of the fruits. Sahih Muslim 669. He who went towards the mosque in the morning or evening, Allah would arrange a feast for him morning or evening in paradise. Sahih al-Bukhari 232. Narrated by Aisha. I used to wash the semen of the clothes of the Prophet, and even then I used to notice 1 or 2 spots on them. Wrath. The Reliance of the Traveller. The Sharia Law Manual. 012.2. If the offender is someone with the capacity to remain chaste, then he or she is stoned to death. 012.6. If the penalty is stoning, the offender is stoned even in severe heat or cold, and even if he has an illness from which he is expected to recover. A pregnant woman is not stoned until she gives birth and the child can suffice with the milk of another. Sahih al-Bukhari 6998. The Prophet said, while I was sleeping last night, the keys of the treasures of the earth were brought to me till they were put in my hand. But Mohammedans, like those here before you, they prefer to market Islam as the solution to all of the problems of the West. Islam portrays itself to be the very light it seeks to extinguish, a light that the whole world must submit to. But light it is not, it is pure darkness. And Islam's darkness is so deceptive that it has caused the Christians in the West to forget that they, in fact, are the ones that have the light. They always did. It's evident everywhere in everything the Christian West created. From the beautiful, majestic architecture of our cathedrals and castles, the orphanages and hospitals, a testament to Christian charity, the schools, even charities themselves. Not to mention our laws based on the 10 Commandments and the Golden Rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. No civilization has produced what the West has produced, and it produced it because it is of the light of Christ. Light from light. There are people all over the world, like some of these defendants, who are trying their hardest to demonize the West and all it has stood for in the past and stands for today. Well, let them try, ladies and gentlemen. What you will see in this trial is the glorious goodness of the West contrasted with the abhorrent evil of Islam. We are in a battle, ladies and gentlemen, not against the 12 defendants you see before you. That is a battle which I have already won, and I won it before I even stepped into this courtroom today. We are not in a battle against politicians or academics or athletes or journalists, nor are we in a battle against corporations or billionaires or the mainstream media. No, our battle, our real battle, is in protecting our Western civilization. It is a battle between powers and principalities. It is a battle between light versus darkness, truth versus lies, good versus evil. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in a holy war. Now, as the Crown Prosecutor, I will be coming at the man who subjected our world to this darkness, and I will be coming at him with a vengeance. I will be coming at him in ways you cannot possibly imagine. I will be coming at him left, right, and centre. I will be coming at him from so many angles that you won't know which angle to tackle first. I will be coming at Muhammad so hard from so many directions that if Muhammad were alive today, he would be begging me to send him back to that desert in Arabia, back on his hands and knees, so he can be surrounded by al-Zut. And that is exactly where he deserves to be, surrounded by demons. And yet some of the defendants here before you in the dock will have you believe that Muhammad was the greatest man who ever lived. You will see, ladies and gentlemen, with absolute clarity that he most certainly was not. He was a vile beast, a false prophet, an impostor, a murderer, a liar, a thief, a racist, an adulterous, womanizing, self-serving, deceiving, conniving pedophile. But Muhammad is not the one on trial. Not today. His turn will come. What you will see in this trial, besides the glaring hypocrisy of these 12 defendants, is that Islam is relentless in its mission to conquer, subjugate, and annihilate. It is unrivaled in its hatred of the light. And who is it that hates the light the most? The Lord of Darkness, the best of deceivers, the master of lies, the God of Islam, Satan. Islam, ladies and gentlemen, is Satan's masterpiece. It is a sad fact, and it is to our great shame, that for the last 60 or 70 years, we Christians have been so lost, so confused, so distracted, so asleep at the wheel, that we have allowed evil to thrive in our world. And it has been able to thrive because we stood by and did nothing. But we will rise. We will emerge from our fog, carrying our crosses. We will proudly reclaim our Christian heritage, because these lands are our lands. This is Christendom. It is the hope of the Crown that at the conclusion of this trial, those of you who have been seeking the light shall find it, and those of you who have been witness to the suppression of truth will see it displayed here in ways you have never seen before, and together we will shine a light so bright it will drive Muhammad's darkness all the way back to that cave in Arabia whence it came. Members of the court, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Your Honour, prepare to be enlightened.